Hey everybody! Alright, sorry, my camera is in a little bit of a weird position. I will fix that quickly. But I have a guest here with me. Would you like to introduce yourself while I fix things?
Hey everybody, this is LadyGeek. I've done a couple of videos with IndieGeek before, so you've probably heard me.
That is true. And thought today would be kind of cool to get your perspective on some stuff in my little vlogcast here. So I don't think you've really watched any of these, so I will kind of just let you know real quick. Basically, what I'm doing here is I have kind of picked out news from this week that I think is kind of relevant, and we're just going to talk about it. And I'm going to play Cookie Clicker in the background.
Sounds
So
good.
that'll be what we're doing. All right. So first things first, I have 1.276 billion cookies because I'm a madman. So that's what's going on in Cookie Land, in case you were curious. All right, but yeah, so let's jump in here. I guess the first thing I wanted to bring up, this was kind of a follow-up from last week, is last week it was rumored that the Order 1886 was going to be delayed into 2015. That is in fact true. They announced that that is definitely happening. So, Firefox just crashed. That's lovely. So, yeah, so that's what's going on. It is definitely delayed. So that kind of sucks, but um, my feeling is always I would rather see. Okay, we gotta take care of this. Oh, that's good. Okay, sorry about the technical difficulties here. Yeah, my feeling is always I would rather see a game get delayed and come out good rather than coming out unfinished. Um, I believe Shigeru Miyamoto actually said once, a delayed game is eventually good, a bad game is bad forever. So that's pretty much my feeling on it.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, it's unfortunate that it's not coming out because it looks like a really interesting, cool game, but hopefully they can make it really good.
yeah, yeah, it's a cool setting, I think, and I think the big deal is that it's kind of Sony's, at least for right now, their only big exclusive coming out for the rest of the year. But I'm assuming with E3 coming up, we'll probably hear some more exclusives come out. There was other weird news with this game. The developers said that they are going to be making the game at 30 frames per second on purpose because they said 24 frames per second didn't feel right and 60 didn't feel right. To me, that sounds like a kind of a cop out of getting to 60 because the big push from Sony when they were announcing PS4 and Xbox was doing the same thing was with the new consoles we're going to have everything at 1080p 60 frames per second. And it feels like just another in this long list of games that promise that and then later say, sorry, we're not actually going to be able to do that. But I guess we'll see what happens.
From someone who doesn't play games all the time, I just have to say that a lot of times I can't tell the difference between 30 FPS and 60,
Right.
and so
Well,
for
and
me, it wouldn't be that like detrimental to the game.
right. And what's interesting is actually even a lot of gamers can't tell. I've found out because there are sites now that'll show you like side by side. It's like a ball moving or something at 30
Mhm.
and 60, and a lot of people even who play games all the time can't tell the difference. It bothers me a lot, but I normally also don't care. But I mean like from a visual standpoint it bothers me because I can really tell the difference.
Yeah.
But I don't mind playing games in 30 frames per second. If they can get it to 60, cool. But I'm not going to not play a game just because it isn't. So
Right.
that's kind of where I'm at with that. But yeah, I mean, it sucks about the delay. Hopefully, it's good when it comes
Yeah.
out. I guess that's my piece on that. I will say here, I guess is a good place to mention with E3 coming. I guess not exactly next week, but a few days after next week. When is the 9th? June
Uh,
9th. What day is that? Let me check my calendar.
I don't
That
know.
might be like a week and a half ish. But so it was kind of a slow news week. Yeah, that's a
It's a week from
Monday,
Monday.
right? Okay. So Next week there will probably be a lot of news leading into E3. This week there was not a lot of big news, similar to last week, so maybe a short episode, maybe not, because I've got a guest, so we may
Yay!
yeah, we may talk a little bit more. But yeah, so I mean that's the order. 1886. That's all I got to say about that. Let's see. I've got a lot of Sony related news, so maybe we'll try and do something not Sony next. Try and alternate stuff. Did you have something?
Nope, go ahead.
Okay. Let's see. Well, one of my favorite developers, Lucas Pope, has started showing off his next game. Many people know him for Papers, Please, which he's won a ton of awards for now. Super cool game. He does a lot of stuff that's really kind of different and out there. His next game is, I believe he's calling it Return of the Obra Dinn. And he's got this really cool kind of setup here. Let me just kind of go through it. It says Lost at Sea, 1803, the good ship Obra Dinn. And it says built 1796 in London, 800 tons, 18-foot drought. Captain R. Witterell, crew of 86 men. Last voyage to the Orient, Cape Rendezvous unmet.
I know it looks like drought, but you pronounce it draft.
Draft. Ah, thank you. Good call. Then it says contact East India London office for enquiries or testimony. And then he's got a couple images. And the cool thing about this is he's using Mac 1-bit rendering technique, which for anyone who's not super nerdy, it is kind of basically the way that old Mac games used to look. Really black and white, right? And kind of interesting looking. I guess maybe I can... I don't want to try and pull it up in browser because I have issues with the browser. Oh, I guess Obra is pronounced like Cobra. Oh, without the C. So Obra. Never mind. Yeah, anyways, he says here about the 1-bit rendering. My first computer was a Mac Plus. I've always had a nostalgia softened spot in my heart for 1-bit graphics. I'd like to capture the detailed black and white look of old Mac games. If you just Google old Mac games, you will be able to see for yourself what that looks like if you're unaware right now. And then he says, I plan to push it grittier and less cartoon-like than those old games. The hard part will be keeping everything legible without it becoming an unreadable mess of dithered pixels. One interesting problem with 1-bit rendering is that it doesn't scale well for images and it compresses to video like shit, so YouTube stuff may look really poor. We'll see how it goes. But, you know, I've got a lot of respect for Lucas Pope, and I think it'll be really interesting to see him do something, I guess, a little bit less like menial task kind of related. But
yeah,
it's...
and I like how he's kind of set a goal for himself of, instead of doing something different with the gameplay, he really wants to experiment with the story and the look of it and how it's rendered. I
Definitely.
think it'll be interesting to see him explore more kind of different area of game design.
Definitely. Yeah. You know, I mean, he's only had one big game, Papers, Please, but he's done a couple of things for, like, Ludum Dare competitions, but everything he does, I really, really like.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see what it comes out as. I think what he's shown off already looks cool, and I like that, you know, he's got this kind of bit of his past that got him into games, and I like that he's sticking to it. I think that's neat.
Yeah.
So yeah, just wanted to mention that he announced it. I don't know where it'll go. Hopefully it comes to fruition and we actually see it someday. But that's what I've got. So yeah, do you have anything else to say about that?
I'm interested to see it. It'll definitely be
Yeah, I mean, have you
on its
seen
way.
like what's
Sorry,
that?
go ahead.
Have you seen like what old Mac games look like? Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, I had Macs.
Uh-huh.
And my parents had some old ones.
Yeah, there's like it looks really cool. So it'll be interesting to see what it looks like running on modern hardware. Especially because indie games lately have been so much about let's bring back old aesthetics.
Right.
I think it'll be cool to see. And I fully trust that he knows what he's doing with this. So
Yeah.
that'll be cool. So let's see. again, I've got a lot of Sony related news this week, but that's just how the week planned out. So, Kaz Hirai, who of course is the CEO of Sony, said that the PS4 is likely to exceed PS2 profits, which is insane to mark right now. Let's see, it says the PlayStation 2 sold more than 155 million units in its 13-year lifespan. It was finally discontinued last year, unfortunately, but let's see. I think it's just kind of crazy that he's saying right now that it'll likely exceed those profits.
For sure.
It's nice to see them feeling so good and,
Yeah.
being successful.
Yeah, it's definitely nice to see a big game and console company doing well
Oh, yeah.
and being successful because that's definitely, I mean, anytime you look at gaming news, there's all these, this studio's closing, these people are laid off.
Uh huh.
So it's definitely nice to see.
Sadly, we've got some of that this week as well that we'll be mentioning here. There were a couple studios that were closed down. I guess that'll be worth jumping into now since you opened up that little segue. Yeah, I think it's good to see, and from my perspective, I think it's good to see because Sony has been very much about listening to what people want,
Yeah.
and so I'm glad to see that's paying off for them. So I guess that's all there really is to say about that. I just thought it would be interesting to mention that the higher ups at Sony are feeling just as good as the gamers right now, which is where we would want them to be.
Yeah.
So yes, I guess the first one is EA shuts down longtime game studio Mythic Entertainment. Let me see. Trying to find their. Ah, yes, yes, yes. Okay, so they have a long kind of history of making games, Dark Age of Camelot, things like that. Unfortunately, their most recent was the mobile version of Dungeon Keeper, which most people have called like a money grabbing piece of shit. So it kind of sucks, I guess, that such a long standing studio is going out with that being their last thing. But I guess that's the problem when you try and make a game that's centered around scamming players. I think people are kind of catching on to like free to play kind of issues, stuff like that.
Microtransactions hidden around every corner.
Right. I mean, it sucks anytime to see a game company go out like that, but also, I don't want to see game companies take this turn in making mobile games that are meant to scam me as a player, especially because Dungeon Keeper is really good, so their mobile version filled with microtransactions and stuff was really disappointing to see.
Right.
But yeah, I thought it'd be worth mentioning that they are closing down. The other one is Harmonix today, laid off 37 people, which is weird coming off of the fact that their Kickstarter was indeed successful. I think they raised a little over $800,000. But something tells me that the layoffs were probably a long time coming and they didn't want to announce them during the Kickstarter. So, they had, I guess, their office party for a little bit, but yeah, things are still not looking great for Harmonix, which is unfortunate because Harmonix has done a lot of good games. I think like things like Guitar Hero and Rock Band have kind of been a big part of my life, and it's unfortunate to see that they maybe don't have the money to keep the studio as big as they once did.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely a lot of game companies are struggling, especially the bigger ones, just to when they're resorting to Kickstarter. I mean, Kickstarter can be great, but they're resorting to Kickstarter to support their company financially, and that's kind of dangerous.
Right. Well, that's what a lot of people said too. Is the fact that they were doing a Kickstarter made it seem like they were in kind of dire circumstances, anyways. I think what's most interesting about it though is maybe like 6 or 7 years ago they were on top of the world and were one of the biggest studios ever, and Rock Band just kind of disappeared and people stopped playing. And once that's gone, like what do you do? They
Right.
they were kind of back to square one. But I guess it's cool to see that their game at least was successfully kickstarted, so they are making it. I know there's been some speculation that the other thing may be I think they were working on a game called like Fantasia or something like that.
Fantasia Music Evolved.
Yeah, that's it. Definitely. For Connect. And the fact now that Xbox One is not going to be packaged in with Connect may have influenced them to maybe lay off some people who are working on the Connect functions, because now the Connect doesn't have to be perfect because not everyone's going to use it. So
Yeah.
that may be related.
And I know, like, a lot of people have been saying that, they just got all this money from Kickstarter, so why can't they keep all these people? But if they raised $844,000, which sounds like a lot until you divide it by those 37 full-time positions,
Yeah.
that's barely minimum wage.
Well, don't forget 30% taxes, 10% goes straight to Kickstarter.
Right.
Like, there's a lot of that they won't see. But
Yeah, for sure.
a lot of people, I think, don't realize that stuff gets factored into how much you raise. Is you
Yeah.
have to up it by whatever you're going to pay for taxes plus the 10% that Kickstarter gets.
Right.
So, there's a reason their goal was so big.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, the game successfully kickstarted, so we'll see it, which is awesome. But I think the other thing to really take note of is, we're seeing all these studios shut down and we're seeing studios shrink because the gap is kind of closing in between indie and AAA. And I think what happened was 5 or 6 years ago we had this big gap in the middle with, you think of games like Dead Island, things like that, that were just kind of okay games. I guess I'd call them either, you either call them like mediocre AAA games, or I always kind of referred to them as single or double A games.
Yeah.
Maybe not the biggest games, but they weren't like a downloadable title either, if that
Right.
makes sense. But that's closing kind of because indie games have become so big. So indie games have almost kind of replaced the kind of medium sized game, I guess, if you will. So now it feels like the only big companies that can make it are the ones that are already at the very top. Which kind of explains some of these closings and things like that.
Yeah. Well,
So,
and related to this, sorry, do you have something to say?
no, go for it.
Um, to this whole issue of the Kinect being unbundled from the Xbox. Um, I read this really interesting article. Let's see, what's her name? Da-da-da-da-da. I can hear you clicking.
Yeah, I'm cookie clicking.
Cookie clicking.
I'm getting
Uh,
110,000 cookies every time I click.
oh boy. I guess her name's Holly Green.
Uh-huh.
Um, and she wrote this opinion article on Polygon about the Kinect and how she has had all these. She's got a really rare nervous system disease, puts her in all this pain, and she gained all this weight because she couldn't move, and she got back into exercise and doing her physical therapy, and she lost all the weight and is doing a lot better with her condition because of the Kinect and being able to do that motion stuff at home and being able to do the voice activation stuff. And she talks a lot in this article about how important that sort of technology is for people with disabilities, especially people who've lost some of that fine motor control.
Definitely.
It Working a controller can be an impossible barrier towards playing any games.
Right.
And I think it kind of opens up a window to what they can do. And there's a lot of things that they're developing right now for pediatric physical therapy for kids, that incorporates games and video games and movement and stuff that makes it more like a game for them. And even
Definitely.
for adults, doing these really painful exercises that, I mean, that they're going to help you, but it can be really hard, especially when you have to motivate yourself to do it every single day, multiple times a day. And I think it's kind of unfortunate that we are not going to see so many advances in this technology because not everyone's going to have it. So
Right.
not everyone has it, then a video game company is going to go, well, not only do I have to sell my game, now I have to sell the fact that people should buy Kinect so that they can play my game.
Yep. Definitely. Yeah, that's the exact same problem I said when they announced that they were stopping the Connect from being required.
Yeah.
Is that like think about how many indie people are probably like we're probably developing games for Connect because they were like, this is my chance because Microsoft is telling me every Xbox One user's gonna have a Connect, so you can
Exactly.
make something with Connect in mind. All these indie developers now are probably going like, oh shit, what do I do?
Right.
Let
And
alone AAA developers doing the same thing.
this technology, it just has so many applications outside of pure entertainment,
Definitely.
especially in medical fields and especially physical therapy, that but there just isn't the money and the effort put into it just for medical reasons. It's only going to get such huge advances in the technology if it's something that's entertainment, something that's profitable, something that companies are trying to sell as the next big thing.
Right.
It's just that's how the technology is going to advance.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a really good article. I like any article really that kind of bridges the gap between games and really any kind of medical condition
Yeah.
because it kind of helps to cement the fact that games are worthwhile. And, there are developers out there thinking about that kind of stuff. And I think that's one thing that we do have to really give to Nintendo is they've done a lot of work making games more enjoyable for more people.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing to think about. Is like not everyone can work a controller. Not everyone can work the buttons on a controller.
But
Um,
something like even like, the stupid party games on the Wii, like the Wii Bowling and the Wii Sports and whatever, it's drawing more people into a technology that can help them be healthier.
right. Definitely. Yeah, I mean that's a big deal that I think maybe is kind of made light of right now, but I think as we keep moving forward, I think it needs more and more precedence in how we make games.
Yeah,
We need to think about the people who want to play games that can't.
for sure.
But I see really cool stuff all the time, like people who break their arm and learn to play games with one hand, things like that.
Yep.
Like I think what a lot of developers don't realize is that if people like games, they're gonna figure out a way to play them. So why not bridge that? Why not take that extra step out?
Right.
Let's make games that don't need the controller sometimes.
Right.
Because I mean, yeah, we've got the Connect, we've got the Move, but how many good games were there for either of them?
Right.
Like right now, there's not many. Like the dance games, I guess that's about it. That has been like pretty good.
Right.
Other than that, there hasn't been much that's like noteworthy. But
Or just like I don't know how many of you have seen the movie Her, but it's got a really cool sequence where the main character is playing this 3D interactive video
right,
game, and that kind of stuff would just like really open it up to everybody because I know I didn't play video games as a kid. So now trying to play games using the controller is still like confusing and hard just because I don't know how the controller works and I don't know which buttons are where, and God forbid you ask me to switch from a PS4 controller to a Wii controller because then I really don't know what's going on, or an Xbox controller, and it's like a barrier to playing games if you didn't grow up with that.
right,
And just like where I lived, we just didn't have access to it. So advancing to something that's just like you play with your own self and you talk to the game and it talks back, I think that when we finally get there, that's going to be when games are truly like open to everyone.
right. Yeah, I mean, I feel like maybe it shouldn't be the focus. I don't want to see all games go to there, but I definitely think that we should see more of
Yeah,
it than we do now. Like, there's almost nothing there now. So, yeah, I mean, I guess it's something to think about maybe with the virtual reality headsets coming out, things like Project Morpheus and the big one. Oh, what the heck's the big one called? Oculus Rift
yeah,
coming out. Maybe we will see more of that. I've already seen a lot of cool stuff being done with Oculus Rift, so maybe that is another step in the right direction. I think a lot of people are torn on it now, but I think it's probably not worth like having too much of a negative opinion until it comes out.
Right.
That's always my thing. I kind of err on the side of caution until it's out. If it's out and it's not good, then sure, have a negative opinion. But I've got an open mind for it. I think it could be, it really could change games. There's that potential. I know a lot of times developers say like, "Oh, my thing's gonna change games. This console or this game is gonna change games forever." Well, all of them say that, but I think virtual reality headsets could actually do that.
Yeah.
So that might be the next big change that we see, and maybe that is the next step um, to doing that. I think about a game like Gone Home.
Right.
Like, if you think about that, you could do that with a VR headset
For sure.
and not need controls.
Yeah.
So that could be cool. We could see more games like that that really make you a person.
Right. Well, and I think that it's important to remember that just because some games are going in that direction, that doesn't mean that all games will.
Definitely.
And I think people get caught up in, if there's this new technology out, every single game is going to use that new thing. And it's like, we had computers and we had computer games and then we had consoles and computer games didn't go away.
Oh, trust me, every time, like when the new consoles were out, PC gaming's dead, the consoles rule forever. And then you had the whole PC crowd, like consoles gaming's dead, these consoles aren't gonna sell. Like
Right.
these are some of the biggest console numbers that there've ever been,
And I
and
think,
gaming on PC is still going just fine.
right. And
I,
I think that people who are really fans of video games and love playing video games and love what they are and love what they do, I think that they should remember that not everyone loves a certain type of game. So the more types of games and the more ways to play games that there are, the more people that are going to be playing games.
right.
Because there's going to be someone who was never able to play it or was never interested in playing it, who's now suddenly, in this world of video games all the time that they just didn't, you know, see before.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean that's been my big turnaround with mobile gaming. Is that it brings in more players, and that's the important part.
Right.
Um, yeah, so I think that yeah, I think that's a pretty good discussion on that whole thing. Definitely give that article a read if you can find it. It's a Polygon opinion piece, like she said. So if you go to Polygon, it shouldn't be too hard to find. But it's an interesting read.
Yeah, it's
Um,
definitely worth looking at.
let's see. This is really cool news. Again, Sony related, but the Tokyo Game Show every year, of course, they've got this part of the game show that is called the Indie Game Area, which just shows off indie games, of course. Sony is covering the bill for any exhibition costs if you are, let's see, regardless of the platform that each exhibitor is targeting. So if you are an indie and you need help getting to the Tokyo Game Show indie game area, Sony's got you covered, which is
That's
pretty
awesome.
awesome. Like they even said we don't care if the game is on a PlayStation platform or not. The more indie games, the better. Just bring cool stuff. So that is again a really really awesome thing that Sony's doing, and I think that's why they are seeing such success in the market right now. Is they
Yeah,
it's karma. I mean, like they're putting out the goodwill.
right.
They're reaching out to people, and it's coming back to them. I think that's another really really good thing to see.
Right.
And especially because for indies now it is so hard to get any exposure. Like I saw another article come out just saying like getting on Steam doesn't matter because it doesn't. I've talked in the past few weeks about how many games are out on Steam every week now. Um, and I think this is another big thing. Getting to show on a conference floor is a big deal for people.
Yeah,
So it's nice to see that they're kind of helping that for people.
for sure. And it's great when there's somebody like Raimi who's, they're giving him the power to just go find indie games. And
You mean Shahid?
yes,
Raimi is uh nuclear Vlambert.
yes, thank you so much.
That's okay. Yeah, definitely. Shahid has been like a huge help. But you know, I mean, he's got a lot of industry experience. He's been in the industry for like 3 decades now, I think.
Right.
But yeah, he's doing really, really great things. He's very, very active on Twitter. If you don't follow him and you're into indie games, give him a follow because he's the kind of person that if you send him a tweet, not only will he respond, but like if you send a tweet and you're like, "Hey Raimi, check out this game. I'd love to play this on Vita." He'll like contact that developer and he'll be like, "What do you need to get this on Vita?"
Yep.
And that's awesome. That's why we're seeing so many games coming out on the indie thing for things like Sony platforms all around, really. Just more and more games getting announced every day for them.
So I found an interesting little rumor floating about on the internet. So I recently started watching this the TV adaptation of this manga series called Attack on Titan, and it's
Hey, me too. What do you
yeah,
know?
it's really good, and I didn't think I would like it, but I do. But anyways, there 3DS there's a 3DS game version of Attack on Titan that released in December in Japan,
Yep,
and there's a rumor that it's going to be coming to the US at some point.
I certainly hope so. That'd be really
Yeah.
cool. I'm looking, yeah, I saw that rumor a while ago. I don't know if they've said much about it since then, but it sounds like they're going for it. I think the big reason is that surprisingly, Attack on Titan was super popular in America. So I think now they're going, all right, let's get everything Attack on Titan out in America.
For sure.
And
And
I'm
they're talking about the company is Spike Chunsoft, and they're looking at possibly partnering with Axes, which
oh yeah,
did
yeah,
9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors.
yeah.
For,
They do a lot of really cool stuff.
yeah, so
Yeah,
that's a possibility.
yeah. They're really good at bringing over Japanese stuff. They do good translations, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that'll be cool to see. Um, let's see. I was gonna segue from my offhanded comment about the overloaded games on Steam with the fact that on the 28th, so yesterday for us, I suppose 2 days for you, the viewers, Steam announced 75 more Greenlight games, just like
Oh,
clockwork.
again.
Let me go through the list and see if I know any of them. Oh, Bloons TD5 Deluxe. That's like a tower defense game. They were kind of like the original tower defense game. Ooh, check this out. Civcraft Legends of Alaria. That's like the most generic game name. Civcraft. I like that. Let's see. Fist of Awesome is actually pretty cool. I've been meaning to check that out, so I guess maybe I'll wait till the Steam release and check it out. Basically, you get to play as like a redneck and you get to punch bears in the face. So that's kind of cool. Oh, Heart and Slash made it. I really like that game. They had a Kickstarter. You may have seen the video on my channel. They were it's a cool little game, so I'm glad to see that got in. Going down the list, not seeing anything. Otherworld looks cool. So that's like what 3 games maybe that I recognized
Out of
so
70.
far. Oh, Centris. Centris, it looks really cool. Glad to see they finally got greenlit. So that's 4. Um, oh, Super Dungeon Bros. That's a nice name. Glad to see someone got their dungeon game in. Yeah, so 4 games out of 75. Ooh, man. Interesting. And you know, I've said my piece on Greenlight plenty of times. I mean, half of these will never see Steam. That's the thing. So many games have gotten greenlit that just don't ever actually release. So maybe it doesn't matter that much, but I also think we're on the way to seeing Greenlight be done.
Yeah, it seems like it's gotten away from what it's supposed to be.
Right. You know, I mean, I've said before, like I feel like that the way it works now is if you have your game on Greenlight, eventually it'll get greenlit, and that's pretty much what it seems like. So, yep. I don't know. There's 75 more titles. You know, if you want to check out the list, I guess go check it out on the Greenlight page. But I guarantee it, 2 weeks from now we'll see another 75 that you won't know either. So That's green light. Let's see. We may have my last bit of Sony news. Are you ready?
I have more Sony news after that.
Oh,
So
do
go
you?
ahead.
Okay. Well, I'll get mine out. Mine will be pretty quick. This is actually kind of cool, actually, and I wish that it was happening near me. But Sony is showing off their E3 press conference in movie theaters. There's like 50-ish theaters that they're doing it in. It's gonna be totally free. You just have to RSVP and get tickets, and you can go see it in a big theater. I think the closest. Yeah, they're not doing any like.
Seattle.
Yeah,
Well,
Seattle's like the closest to where we are, but they've got all your typical ones that you would expect. So, if you want to see Sony's E3 press conference, I think you get like a small gift or something if you go. I'm sure it'll be hype. Like people are
30
going to be
minutes of
going
extra
nuts.
content.
Woohoo!
Woo!
Whoa. That'll be on the internet half an hour afterwards. No, it'll be cool though. It's new, it's different. I haven't seen anyone else do something like that for a gaming event. I'm sure it'll be nerdy, but yeah, if you're close to any of the things and you don't have anything else to do on the 9th, then I'd say go check it out. Seems pretty cool. All right. Well, let me get another thing out before you tell us your Sony news.
That was my Sony news.
Oh, I knew it.
You
I
beat
knew
me.
it. I gotcha. All right. Well, okay. Steam delayed their, or Valve, I mean, delayed their Steam controller to 2015, which is fine. Their cool owl controller. Have you seen this controller?
No, I haven't.
Go Google Steam controller. It looks like an owl, kind of. The eyes. You can see the eyes. No, it's a pretty cool controller though. I'm interested to see how it plays. I know a lot of people were skeptical, but then they showed a video of them playing Papers, Please and Dota and I think Civ 5 with it. So I'm like, okay, if you can play those, you can play anything. So that's cool. I don't know how big of a deal that is, I guess, but just letting you know if you wanted one of those controllers, it's not happening this year now, but it's neat. It looks kind of cool. I don't know if it'll get me to stop using the Xbox 360 controller, but nice to see that Steam is doing a controller, I guess.
Yeah.
I think that was the last of my big news. So
I have more Sony news now.
okay, let's hear it.
So, I don't know how many of you are familiar with this, but China, since the year 2000, has had a ban on all gaming consoles
Oh yeah, definitely.
on the mainland.
That's why they get all the cheap knockoff consoles. They make their
Yeah.
own.
Their adverse effect on the mental health of young people, whatever. Anyway, but in January, the government of China actually said that it will allow foreign companies to manufacture and sell consoles on mainland China. And Sony signed a partnership with a company in China to make a manufacturing plant and sell PlayStations
Oh,
on
nice.
China.
Like PS4s.
Yep,
Cool.
everything.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that actually. That's really cool. It's good to
Yep.
see. I know a lot of countries are still waiting on new consoles. I think the Xbox is out in like 6 countries maybe, and PS4 is out in like 16.
Hmm.
Neither of them are out in very many yet, but yeah, that's cool to see. I'm glad that in China they can finally do that. Of course, I think everyone's still playing like WoW in China.
Yeah. And
So,
actually, Xbox One is also they'll go on sale in September in China.
oh, cool.
Yep.
Good to see. Yeah, I know like people make careers in China, like farming for gold and WoW.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy, but yeah, that'll be cool. The more places you can sell them, the more you can sell. So,
Yeah. Oh wow, listen to this. PricewaterhouseCoopers, it's this big research company, estimates that in the next year, China's video game industry will generate $10 billion in sales.
ooh, holy cow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's crazy.
All right, so I know you have not done one of these or seen one of these. So what I do now is basically I kind of do a whole bunch of kind of mini, kind of quick shoot off news here. I just kind of go through our games and I just do some news. So all the little things, we covered the big things, but most of these, like, we probably won't speak too much on unless something really shouts out to us. But yeah, just preparing you for what's going on here. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Cool. Unless you've got any other big things that you want to discuss.
Nope.
Cool. All right. So the first thing, they're doing a Smash Bros. Invitational at E3, which is pretty cool. So this is like a little tournament going on. They have invited certain players to come play. And I do have the list here. I'm going to be a jerk, and I'm going to start with the non-players. So first of all, Jeff Keighley is hosting. Cool. He hosts everything, so I don't think that's a surprise. Commentating, we've got Prague, Scar, and D1. Awesome. Those are the big commentators that anyone who watches Smash knows already, so that's cool. Players, we've got Milk Tea, Hugs, Liquid Ken, Liquid KDJ, Lilo, DJ Nintendo, Toph, Pichu Hime, CRS Hungry Box, Pew Pew U, EGPPMD, The Rapture, Christmas, MacD, Amza, and CT0. A couple of big names in there, but there's also a couple of big omissions. I'm kind of wondering... honey?
Did I touch the microphone?
Maybe.
Okay.
You weren't taking a drink, were you?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe that's what it is. Yeah, so what's interesting here is, let's see, Ken changed his name, which is cool, I guess. I think he's on a different team, so he changed his name. I think the more important thing is that Ken's going. That's awesome to see Ken around.
Yeah, sure.
The big omissions are obviously Mewtwo King and Mango. I have a feeling it's because they are probably kind of a PR nightmare together.
Yeah, I could see that.
Specifically Mango, because Mango is not afraid to, start spouting off fuck yous and flipping off cameras. And considering this is like a big televised event, I'm assuming that's why he's not going. Yeah. And Mewtwo King, I'm not sure why. Maybe because he's too good. I don't know. Like, that would be my other thing about those two, is that, like, every competition for Smash this year, either Mango has won or Mewtwo King has won. So maybe they want to see something that people won't be able to really guess ahead of time. But it's cool to see some big players on there, specifically Ken, for me. I'm always happy to see Ken playing. Hugs, Milk Tea, some really cool names on there, so I thought that was cool. I guess other Smash Bros. Related news, they are releasing a GameCube controller adapter for Wii U so that people can play Smash with their GameCube controllers, because it is the controller that cannot die. This will be like the third system now that you can use GameCube controllers on. But to be fair, it was also their last traditional controller, which I think is the reason people kind of like it so much. I know a lot of people call it the best controller ever made. I don't know if I'd agree with that, but I think that's why people have kind of latched onto it so much. Because you think about it, after that they made the Wiimote, and after that has been the Wii U gamepad.
Right.
So, cool to see, I guess, because I hate playing Smash with the Wiimote, and I can't even imagine how it's going to play with a gamepad.
Yeah.
But cool to see. I know a lot of people are going to be happy about that. It's going to make, I guess it's going to make playing it in competitive tournaments easier for people. So, yeah, let's see. Oh, the Humble Weekly bundle right now includes RPG Maker, which I know a lot of people talk down on, but there have been some really, really neat games made in RPG Maker. I would not, just kind of toss it off to the side. But, like, even if you pay $1, you get a Steam key for RPG Maker.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've ever said, hey, I really want to make an RPG, go check out the Humble Weekly bundle, because not that I suggest paying $1, but if you wanted, you could pay $1 and you'd get a program that makes it pretty easy to start making RPG games. So that is cool. What else do we have here? Let me know if you have anything too. You can just
I've got something.
go for it.
So, scrolling among the pages of Reddit, there's this game that just released on Steam today called Among the Sleep,
Yep.
and it's this first-person horror adventure indie game where you play a toddler,
Right.
which is interesting.
It is. I tried the demo out. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I know the demo is from an older version, but it was really janky. It didn't really work well.
Huh.
And I said that last week. It sounds like the reviews I saw think it's okay. It's not the greatest thing, but
Yeah, I just thought it was an
it's a cool.
interesting
Definitely,
subject
it's a
matter.
cool idea. I think though people who play horror games on PC are used to things being a little janky, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't take my opinion on it. But for me, like if the game is that janky, I can't even get into it.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people are gonna like this a lot.
Well,
Um,
some of these things say that is it like camera wobbliness?
well, what I had was like the controls are weird, which is true of any horror game that's released on PC now. But also, I got stuck in a box about 60 seconds into the game, and I
Really?
couldn't get out, and then the game crashed. So
Oh
I
man.
was like, all right, well, I'm not going to ask for a press code, and I'm just going to delete the demo, and we'll see how it goes. But again, I think that a lot of people are okay with that when they play horror games on
Uh-huh.
PC. I just don't really get the horror game thing for me. I'm into more like classic horror games. Like Silent Hill scares the shit out of me, but it's also a game that really works.
Right.
And a lot of PC horror games that are coming out don't work that well. But the whole like YouTube people do scream throughs and stuff like that. People like it, so it'll sell. I'm sure Among the Sleep is doing fine. Actually, I can go to Steam and see how it's doing. So I will do that right now. Because Steam defaults to top sellers. Yeah, it is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is the 7th best selling game on Steam right now.
Huh.
The only things doing better are Watch Dogs, Payday 2, which is on sale, the new expansion for Europa Universalis 4, Wolfenstein, which just came out, XCOM Complete, which is also on sale, and Daisy, which is always in the top 5.
Yeah.
So, guess it doesn't matter if it is janky, which it might not be anymore, but even if it is, it's selling like crazy. So, yeah, definitely cool though. It's cool to see it finally come out. I know I've been seeing stuff about it forever, but nice to see it finally release. For the RPG fans out there, Dragon Quest VIII is coming to iOS and Android. Probably one of the best RPGs on PS2, so if you missed out on it, I think it costs a boatload now. But you'll be able to play it on the go. It's cool, I guess. Guess we'll see how it works and if they decide to add microtransactions. Oh boy. Oh, and Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare is coming out for PS3 and PS4 in August.
Yep.
So that'll be cool to see. It's been a Xbox exclusive for a while. Let's see. Oh, I know. If I can find it, the PS Plus is changing a little bit. Let me see. There should be a blog post about it. Okay. So the way they're going to do PS Plus now is you're going to get 2 titles per month for each system,
Uh-huh.
which is a little different because what they were doing, I think, is 5 titles a month. So it was 1 PS4, 1 Vita, and 3 PS3. And also they had 3 games for PS3 and I think 3 games for Vita that would be there for a year for free. So if you joined at any time during that year, you could get those games. They're getting rid of that, so they're not doing the year-long games. So they're moving to this 222 system. And also, all 6 games will be available the first Tuesday of every month now, rather than 1 game a week, which I think is kind of cool. Let's see, this month, well, for June anyways, it's going to be, for PS4, you get Trine 2, Pixel Junk Shooter Ultimate, which, in my opinion, are fairly weak PS4 entries because both of them have been on other consoles. But I may be biased because I own both of those. For PS3, we get NBA 2K14 and Sly Cooper Thieves in Time. With that, you also get the Vita version, so that's cool. It's kind of an extra. And then for Vita, you get Terraria and Mutant Mudds Deluxe. So I think overall, it's a pretty good selection. I think the PS4 is the weakest of the three, but a lot of good games in there. So if you're PS Plus, I don't think it really changes much. I think what it really changes for is people who aren't PS Plus yet and are looking to be PS Plus. Because now it's just going to be a little different when you join.
Right.
But yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a bad change. It's just different. Let's see. Anything you want to mention that you're seeing? Are you going through the list too?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Let's see. Well, I guess if I mean, I didn't like formally mention it. I know I said last week it was looking like they were definitely going to make it. 2 weeks ago, I said no way in hell were they making it. But yes, Amplitude did make their Kickstarter. Harmonix is getting to do Amplitude. Let me pull up here. Oh, I guess you said what, 844,000? Yeah, 844,000 is what they ended up with. So, if you didn't know, 2 weeks ago about they were at like 200,000, and it was looking like there was no way they were going to make their 775 goal. And then like a week before, they shot up just 500,000 out of nowhere. So they did officially make it. Watch Dogs was record day one sales for Ubisoft, so people like it, or people bought it.
Yeah.
Everything I've heard is that Watch Dogs is okay. It was really overhyped, is the biggest thing I've heard.
Yeah.
But they did start hyping it like a year and a half ago, so. There may be a new Mortal Kombat coming out soon. I know that's a big deal to a lot of people. I really liked the last Mortal Kombat game, so guess that'll be cool. Let's see. Again, yeah, I mean, we didn't have like a ton of big news this week. It's kind of just a bunch of little news all over, but next week's going to be crazy, probably. And then the week after that will certainly be crazy with E3 going on. What'd you say?
Said crazy.
Yeah, crazy. Ah. Let's see. Boop-a-doop-doo. Well, why don't you keep looking and see if you find anything else? I guess there wasn't really any other big Kickstarter stuff to mention. Well, if you want to know about a non-gaming Kickstarter, LeVar Burton's kickstarting Reading Rainbow. Woo!
Yeah, Reading Rainbow.
It is far, far past its goal. Let me pull it up. Last I heard it was about 2 million. Yeah, it's got 2,422,000 right now. It had a goal of 1 million, which it hit in a few hours. So, Reading Rainbow's coming back. That's cool.
Yeah.
Again, not gaming related, but cool nonetheless. I'm glad to see that happen. Oh, I know. I should look up. I know it passed it, but Exogenesis. Oh, they did. Cool. So yeah, not only did they pass their Kickstarter for Exogenesis Perils of Rebirth, but they also got enough to do full voice acting, which is awesome.
Nice.
Because my one complaint in my video that I did is, man, this is a lot of reading. I wish there was voice acting. So that's cool. Game looks fantastic, so glad to see that hit the goal. Another game I covered, Zen Ziz Zen Zik, also passed their goal. So now they're just going for overtime, going to hit some stretch goals. So that's cool as well. Well, we are pretty close to wrapping up here. Do you have any other news?
I don't think so.
Okay, so what I need you to do, because you get to do this too, is I need you to go to store www.steampowered.com. Let me know when you're there.
Yep.
Okay, so the way I end this every week is I talk about the upcoming games for the next week, and I talk about what I'm looking forward to and what I think is going to be good. So if you want to navigate to the Coming Soon tab, if you go down a little bit, you should see something that says Top Sellers, and then right next to it is Coming Soon.
Got it.
Cool. So we are looking for stuff. Let me just pull up a nice handy calendar here. Anything coming out before the 6th that looks cool. Or anything worth mentioning, I guess. The thing I noticed was there's a lot of early access stuff this week coming out. The Forest is an early access thing. There were like 5 or 6 when I looked earlier. The Stomping Land, which looks like a dinosaur game.
Yeah, dinosaurs.
I don't know how good that'll be. Pixel Boy in the Ever Expanding Dungeon. Yeah, I looked at that and it looked not great. It says Chroma, but I know for a fact that is not coming out this week. In fact, the developers of Chroma just said that they did their closed alpha testing, and they said they're going back to the drawing board. So I think it'll be a long time before we see that. Oh, here we go. Okay, Kriya is entering in early access. I did a video on that a while ago. It's pretty cool. If you like Terraria, if you like Starbound, you will like Kriya. Noir Syndrome is a game I did a video on when it was in Greenlight, and it is fantastic. It's like a roguelike. I mean, well, as far as your roguelike, it's a modern termed roguelike. Basically, the game changes every time. What happens is you are a detective, and you have 13 days to figure out who killed the person. And you can spend your day going to one area in the town. But once you've gone there, that's your decision for the day. But once you're there, you can collect evidence, you can buy things, and you need to buy food to stay, healthy. And you can question people. And basically, you have to figure out who did it by the end of the 13 days. And then the next time you play, it's a different person, different evidence, all different stuff. So it's really cool. Glad to see it coming to Steam. So I would definitely check that out. Murdered Soul Suspect is coming out. Could be good, could not be good, who knows. I don't know, I saw videos for it a while ago when they first announced it and it looked alright. And then maybe the only other big thing, of course this is actually next Friday, is Concursion, which looks kind of cool. It kind of combines 5 different genres into one game. If it doesn't make sense when you hear it, it makes sense when you play it. It's real cool. So I guess I would say that... Oh, that's what that is. It's a little bunny. Okay. Sorry, you have no idea. I'm looking... So on my preview for my video, I can see Cookie Clicker, right? And we've got the milk at the bottom. And then I can see my video. And the color of our ceiling is sort of close-ish to the color of the milk. Not perfect. I know people in the comments are gonna be like, "You're colorblind." I'm like, no, I mean it blends in a little. And I just saw these weird, this weird shape, and it looked like it was some weird thing on our ceiling. And it was like, what the hell is that? And then I realized it was the bunny ears because a bunny popped up in Cookie Clicker. So anyways, I guess I would say my pick for what you should check out in the next week is Noir Syndrome. That's what I'm going to say. Do you see anything that looks worthy of checking out?
Well, I'm not really up to speed on most of these.
That's alright, neither am I.
For a more casual player, Lost Marbles looks like it could be good.
What is Lost
kind of a
Marbles?
casual indie game.
Okay, I gotta go check this out. What the hell is Lost Marbles?
There's 3 different marbles.
Oh, is it kind of like a Marble Madness kind of thing?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's just got
okay.
different marbles made of different materials, and it's got some cool platform things with, spinning saw blades and fire and water. And
Oh, sure. Yeah, it looks like Marble Madness.
yeah,
Yeah, that could be cool. Marble Madness never really gets old. I guess we'll just have to see if it's a good Marble Madness game,
yeah, there you go.
because that's the real question. There have been a lot of Marble Madness knockoffs. The real question is whether or not it's good. Cool. All right. And then I guess, let's see. Were there any surprise new? Oh, whew! You can get Putt Putt Joins the Circus on Steam now. Been
Ooh.
waiting for that one. I'm trying to see. Oh, yes, there was a surprise release that I wasn't able to talk about last week because I didn't know it was coming to Steam. I've got a video coming soon. It's called Where Is My Heart? It is really good. It was an old PlayStation Mini game, I think. Yeah, I don't know. PlayStation's got a lot of. They've got PlayStation Mini, PlayStation Mobile, all kinds of stuff. I'm pretty sure it's PlayStation Mini, but it's finally on Steam. It is really good. Basically, you play as three little cute characters, and it starts out like a normal platformer, but then everything kind of turns into like comic book frames, right? And it looks like, oh, cool, whatever. It doesn't change anything, except the comic book frames are not arranged in the right order. So you may walk at the edge while you're on the left of the screen and pop out on a frame that's on the right side of the screen. So that's kind of the gimmick there. It's really good. So that is what I would check out. If you didn't see my video, a story about my uncle was absolutely excellent. So that is also really, really good. That may be all the games that released this week that I feel are really, really worth mentioning that I can kind of give you my word for. But I think, yeah, I guess that's kind of where we'll wrap this one. So, yeah, let's call it there. A lot of little news, a lot of interesting news though. Yeah, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of cool stuff going on this week. But that is where we'll call it for this week. So, as always, feel free to leave comments. Love to hear your thoughts on any of these things going down. We don't have to be the only ones to talk about it. If you've got opinions, I love to hear them. So, do feel free to post comments about that. If you like this content and for some reason this is the only video you've seen, I do normal gaming content every single day where I actually play games, not just click on cookies. But yeah, do feel free to subscribe if you want to see more of my content every single day. And if you like the Vlogcast series, then please do consider clicking the like button. But with that, we will see you next week for another one. So, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next time.